Okay, so, hi, hello, welcome back to another Reading Bad Two-Sentence Horror Stories. I think I mentioned in the last video that I was going to stop, this series, but, you know, I remembered that in the first video, I recorded of this, I had audio issues, so I ended up just scrapping the whole video. So, I'm just thinking about, hey, I'm just gonna reread those. So, but if I end up repeating certain bad, like, two-sentence horror stories in here, sorry about that. I'm human and I forget pretty much anything and everything. So, just my bad. Also, I do have some music in the background. This is being recorded at the day after I recorded the Christmas one. So I may implement more music in my videos going forward, except the ones I already have pre-recorded and they're just out there ready to be posted if I don't have anything ready for that day. So, outside that, let's get into it. So, how I used to do my Reading Bad Two-Sentence Horror Stories, well, how I used to do my original two-sentence horror story videos is that I read number 1, and I go all the way down to 30, but these are kind of different. I just go until I cringe so hard, or I just get, absolutely just like, damn. So, let's get into it. How could you have done that to our child? Screamed my boyfriend, holding my medical records in one hand and a gun in the other. He pulled the trigger before I had the chance to explain that spontaneous abortion was just a medical term for a miscarriage. Okay. See, we're starting off strong already. We're starting off extremely strong. Also, I'm just going to turn off the music. So, that set the tone for everything. So, let's get into it. My mother-in-law pushed me down the stairs when I was pregnant. Soon after, I told her that my unborn child is alone up there and he needs someone to take care of him, so I'm sending his grandmother. Grandma fell asleep for the last time in the hospital bed. Something else woke up. What was it? Grandma 2.0. Heavy hitter right there. Mom, Santa Claus is coming and I can see him, my daughter exclaimed from the window, where she had been peering out into the dim, wintry evening. I nervously smiled at her and reached for my phone with trembling hands, as we were promised that nobody knew the location of this safe house. Okay. My wife grabbed my arm tightly and said, whatever you hear on the other side of that door, do not open it. The voice coming from the other side sounded exactly like my wife, yelling, honey, it's not really me in there, get out now. Okay, this could be some, that could be some, like, I forgot, what cryptid can, like, mimic your voice? Is it the Wendigo or the Skinwalker? I'm not too sure. Unless those two are the same. Sorry, I'm kind of stupid, but I remember something that can mimic your voice, so, it could be something like that, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, moving on. I feel like that one actually is a two-sentence horror story, but moving on. I rubbed my temples slowly. Her and her twin sister pulls this act every April Fool's Day. It only gets more annoying every year. Oh, okay, so that one was connecting the two. Okay, yeah, then it's a pretty shitty horror story if those two are connected. Okay, moving on. 2 sentences. My girlfriend has been lying about her age, and turns out she is much older than me than I thought. Okay, so I talked about this. If you guys don't know, I'm currently streaming on Twitch, and this is more like a Twitch highlight than a real video. So this is a story about this guy and dating this girl. So she was like 39. So he was on a dating app, and he met up with this girl, and she was 39, and I think the guy in this text is actually 29? Yeah, he's currently 29. So he's been dating this girl for a while, and then one day she decided to break the news to him because her birthday was coming around, that she was actually 49 going on 50. And, the guy, he's not really mad, he just doesn't know what to do. So, it's kind of like a two-sentence horror story if you just keep it like that, but I want to tell you guys some more context around it. He's unsure what to do. People are saying, hey, it's pretty bad that she was just lying about the age, straight up. but she doesn't look her age, and great personality and all. But the guy has the concerns about having children, and he wants to have children, and a girl who is in their 40s and 50s sometimes just are unable to have children. So it is what it is. So hopefully this man can come to a conclusion, because he does, at the end of the day, is what he wants out of the relationship, and she also has what she wants out of the relationship, so they can come together and work it out. And more power to them. But if they can't, more power to them if they want to split off. But I think it's kind of why did you lie about so much about your age? But I don't know. Moving on. Sorry for the little tangent. Just I wanted to give you guys the backstory to that. So moving on. The devil handed me the tickets as I quickly exchanged them for the child, her screams echoing under the bridge even after they disappeared through a ring of fire. These aren't even floor seats, I hollered at him, wondering if sacrificing my own child would have yielded better results. Okay, so dude just gave his child up for fucking basketball tickets or something. Moving on. I looked around the abandoned beach and then at my father and asked, "Can we eat, Dad?" He looked around the plain rubble, then at the dead bodies, and then turned to me and said, "We can eat." Sure. Okay, moving on. Halfway through my journey, I took out my phone and pretended to be in a heated argument with my daughter. I didn't want the taxi driver to know that I could hear the muffled screams coming from the trunk. That one could be a cool story. Moving on. My boyfriend was always nitpicking about inaccuracies in the movie. It never really bothered me until our Saw marathon. Okay, moving on. Mama said we were digging for treasure, but all I found so far is dirt and clay. The soldiers are making the whole village dig the same hole, so whatever it is must be huge. Hell yeah, I guess. Moving on. "Dad, it's time for you to open up your Christmas presents," I said jokingly. My smile turned to horror as his urn levitated and flew towards the tree. I know it's so fucked up, but it's kind of funny. just seeing your dad's urn just fucking looking towards the Christmas tree. Okay, moving on. As I played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for my PlayStation 2, I noticed something deeply horrifying. CJ turned to me and said, "Hey, stop controlling me with that controller." Damn. Heavy hitter right there. Moving on. As the doctors gather all the test results, one of them asks, "Should we release the patient?" Another replies, "Unless you want to spend the rest of your life in prison, we need to keep him here." What? Okay, moving on. "We must let nature run its course. We cannot interfere," said the safari guide. There was nothing I could do except watch my infant daughter be dragged away by the lions. Whoa there, buddy. The fuck you think you're doing? Hey, those lions caught the prey. Your daughter wasn't up for the chops, man. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can kind of see what's happening in real life because people are just fucking dumb. But moving on. As I talked to the police, I had no idea why the infamous gang of criminals would kidnap my daughter. When the police finally tracked her down, it became clear that the criminals knew her better than I did. Okay, moving on. The IKEA incident. I decided to go on a tour of the IKEA factory. Little did I know that we'll find a creature that lays the IKEA meatballs. I can see that becoming like a no-sleep horror story, like the monster of IKEA. I would read it too. I think it would be pretty good. Okay, moving on. I had always been proud that I raised my son to never interrupt adult conversations. But he stood silently, waiting for his father and uncle to finish discussing the football game as I stroked out. I started to wish I hadn't been quite as heavy-handed. What? So, Are you... Who are you in the story then? Probably the mama? I guess, I don't know. As I stroked out. Okay, moving on. Once I was sure the family was fast asleep, it took me 4 minutes and 17 seconds to break in, walk upstairs, smother the baby in his crib, and get back to my car. After pushing off the apocalypse for another 72 hours, I wait patiently for the voice to give me the name of the next sacrifice so that life may continue. Okay, yet again, this one could be a good story, just a bad two-sentence horror story. So, moving on. My father handed me a gun and told me that I knew what I had to do. I shot him the minute he turned around, because I knew that I will need something to eat once I become a zombie. Okay. Um, moving on. I was using a Ouija board, and for fun, I asked the spirit why they're still lingering here instead of going to heaven. The fun ended when it spelled out HEVENOTWHATHINKITIS. Heaven is not what you think it is. Okay, so that one, honestly, I don't think is as bad. It is kind of weird, but it does get me thinking though. It, I'm not religious by any means, so the questions that I may ask may sound dumb, but I also do respect any type of religion. You know, just me personally, I don't believe in anything. But like, so the ghosts that people claim they see, are those ones that didn't make it into heaven or hell? Because I know purgatory is a thing, right, when you're in between, though, but do those ever move on? Or do they just stay there forever? You know, I don't know how it is, because I feel like if you make it to one place or another, you can't really go back. So, would people really want to go to one or another if they can just stay here on Earth just in a spectral form? Oh, little food for my little brain. A little food for thoughts. But, moving on. Before, I don't know, anything. So, girls are like strawberries. Sometimes they're in my refrigerator. Okay. Moving on. I show my new girlfriend my collection of vintage milk cartons, the final edition boasting her school picture. I spent weeks explaining to her that it's safer than keeping trophies, but all she does is scream and cry instead of being flattered. Okay, so that one is kind of meh, but the idea behind it is pretty fucking good. So if you guys don't know, back in the day, they used to put missing children posters on milk cartons. I'm pretty sure they don't do it anymore though, but when they first originally did it, it actually helped out a lot of people. So this one's just playing on the fact that, hey motherfucker, you're in my basement, or where are they? Oh, you're in my house, and you know they're boasting her school picture on it. So you know, I like the concept of it though, but I feel like it could have been better. But moving on. My mother always steals my original recipes and passes them off as her own. So I wrote a special note in one for her. Wet turkey thoroughly before deep frying. Okay. So so I understand what they're doing with it. I guess good. But I think your mother won't fall for it. But moving on. It is a horror story. She does go with it though. Finally, I'm all alone, I said to myself as I sat in my bedroom at midnight. No, you're not, said Knife Guy. Okay, moving on. The genie told me that he would grant one wish but at a price, so I wish to be immortal with the exception that I could end my life at a snap of my fingers. I screamed in agony, looking down at my stumps and at the end of my arms, realizing what the price was. Okay, so the genie granted the one wish, but he didn't know that giving up his hands was the one thing that the genie wanted. Okay, I guess that's a good one, but I don't know. Moving on. After buying our first home, my wife and I decided to get ourselves a dog. I kind of regret getting a retired police dog, though, since the stupid mutt doesn't stop barking at our bedroom floor. Okay, moving on. Let's meet in the parking lot for one more tryst before my husband comes back, read the text. After pressing send, I put my wife's phone back in my pocket. Okay, I think we are getting into the original video I recorded way back when. So, if these does sound familiar, sorry about that. But moving on. I have to eat. Sorry, Bob. Halfway into our trip, the GPS arrival net time switched from midnight to never. I was so distracted trying to figure out what it meant, I did not notice the truck veering into my lane. The pros of being a virgin, I said with a grin under my breath. My face turned to horror when the paternity test still said I was the father. Oh, okay. I don't remember that one being that bad, but moving on. I laughed and joked with the rest of the crew about the international... Oh, I laughed and joked with the rest of the crew aboard the International Space Station, showing off my personal cell phone I had managed to smuggle on board. I held it up like a trophy with a wide, smug smile, but the smile froze on my face when the phone began to ring. Sorry about that if I messed up halfway through. I feel like I was having a stroke right there. But moving on. It's only 5 nights. It shouldn't be that hard, I said to myself. Then that was when I realized Freddy Fazbear was in the room. I never liked wearing the silver necklaces my mom makes me wear. But the minute I take them off, I usually black out and find myself covered in blood. Okay, moving on. We threw his daughter into the volcano, but the gods rejected our sacrifice. I don't understand, the farmer said. She had never seen a boy in her whole life. Oh, okay. I remember how bad the first batch was. So, this one's implying that the farmer did the not so good stuff with the daughter. Moving on. I'm sorry about my son. He's autistic, nonverbal, and you can just pretend he doesn't really exist, my mother explained apologetically. I want to open my mouth and show the kind-looking man exactly why I'm nonverbal, but I know my mother will cut off something else if I do. Oh, okay, moving on. With my friends and I clawed our way out of the tar pit. We crested the edge of the pit only to discover that there was more tar. The different color presents in human skin are caused by chromophores like carotenoids, hemoglobin, melanin, and oxyhemoglobin, said the teacher. But my older sister told me that her bluish-purple skin was caused by her husband, said one kid from the back of the class. What? Okay, moving on. Either I've read that and had a stroke, or that's just the way it's actually written. Moving on. My garbage cans smell like yogurt, but I haven't been eating yogurt. Okay, I think I'm finally into the original ones now, so sorry about that. Everyone at the clinic convinced me to get laser eye surgery, but as I sat in a chair, having just signed a waiver, it dawned on me that all the staff were wearing glasses. Okay, moving on. See, God protected me, screamed the priest in joy when the vampire fangs fell out after he tried to drink blood from him. He didn't. That was my wobbling baby tooth, said the kid vampire as a permanent fang started growing again in the empty spot. Oh, okay, moving on. As the rope tightens around my neck and my vision blurs, I wonder if God forgives suicide. But then I take a last look at the remains of my daughter, and I think, he wouldn't forgive me anyway. That one is fucking dark. Moving on. The hooded man gave me a bell that told me every time I rang it, I would receive 100 gold coins, but there would be a cumulative cost that wouldn't directly affect me. I'm not the smartest man, so it took me quite literally until I was I'm not the smartest man, so it took me quite literally until I was the only one left on Earth before I realized the price of the bell. And now I sit, tears streaming, my trembling hand ready to ring it one final time. Good story concept, just I don't think it should be a two-sentence horror story. And also, I'm also not the smartest man. I had trouble reading that shit, so moving on. When a new disease emerged, it wiped out all of humanity in 72 hours. The billions of chickens, cattle, and pigs stuck in the factory farms were not given that luxury. Okay, moving on. I tortured the imposters who kidnapped my family, hoping they'd tell me where they were. The woman just kept calling me her husband, and the little boy was shouting, "Daddy, stop it." But no matter how hard they tried to mimic them, I can see through their masks. Okay, I think that's just some schizophrenia posting right there, but moving on. Okay, I remember now. So I'll do like 2 more of these, because I think I may have hit it, the thing yet, or I don't know, maybe I could do a little bit more, who knows. I think I used to date her, I said absent-mindedly, after I recognized the wrist hummingbird tattoo. Yeah, well, after the war, we eat whoever we can get, my brother said as he bartered with the raider for the arm and the other meat. Okay, moving on. While tidying up my girlfriend's apartment, I found a purple diary labeled, "Boyfriends Who Dared to Look." Unable to resist the temptation, my heart raced at the sight of names and dates marked with red. But before I could truly process its meaning, a voice behind me chuckled. It's time to break up, as a sharp object pierced my back. Job Jennifer's body. What the fuck? Moving on. The surgeon said the operation was a complete success, and we saved as much as your leg as possible. It might be anesthetic still in my system, but I'm pretty sure I came in for a broken arm. I don't know why I can't say certain words, man. Anesthetic. There we fucking go. Moving on. Every other Monday, I check my daughter's weight to make sure her diet is working. Since I won custody, she had finally regained some weight, but weekends with mom are always a setback. Huh. Okay, moving on. My son kept complaining about his teacher. I told him to shut up unless he wanted to be tomorrow's night dinner. Okay, moving on. When time travel was invented, I immediately went back in time to see who really killed JFK. When I reached the room, all I saw was a loaded gun, trained directly at the road. On the road, the motorcade was soon traversed, and no one else in sight. So, okay, moving on. I chuckled as my kid accidentally got into the identical car behind me in the school pickup line. I screamed as the car tore out of the parking lot. Moving on. It's just a prank, bro. Relax. That was the last thing we expected to hear from God when we asked why humankind existed. I smiled at my daughter's writing assignment, which read, "One day, my child will look at me the way I look at my parents." My heart dropped when I noticed the prompt, "Write about your worst fear." Okay, moving on. They had to put my dog down after a series of violent attacks on children. Little didn't know, the dog wasn't the one who did them. My mother spent years trying to find a doctor to cure my unknown illness. I was shocked to learn that the cure was my mother going to prison for 20 years of my life. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this one a little bit more. There has been cases and stuff that happens where the parents will purposely poison their kids for some ungodful fucking reason. So that could be related, but I don't know. So, moving on. Finished with her last patient, the memory care nurse reaches to punch her coat into the door. An unfamiliar wrinkled hand struggles with the buttons, and the door does not open. That one has a good twist. I like that one. So, moving on. I always had a strong fascination with the beauty of fire. It's not my fault. I didn't know the abandoned and rotting house was a popular spot for children hiding from home. Okay, I'll do two more because honestly, I think I hit, the spot where other videos hit. So, I'll do three more. I sighed as my husband called my phone, letting me know he hit something in the road. As I walked to the shed for the special shovel, I was relieved when he said it was just a deer this time. For injuring a pedestrian while driving under the influence, I sentenced you to the new COD program, declared the judge, dismissing me before I could say anything. My questions were quickly answered when the cops dragged me into a room labeled Compulsory Organ Donation Program. Compulsory Organ Donation Program. There we go. I can't speak for shit. The child asked with wonder what the man from the future was here to do. The terror in the boy's eyes as the time traveler raised the gun to his face still haunts him. Okay, I'm reading that one. I'll do one more because this one might be kind of funny. The doctor gave me a thorough testicular cancer examination and then left the room. 5 minutes later, a nurse popped her head in and said, "Dr. Phillips is stuck in traffic. We'll be with you shortly." Okay. But yeah, I do want to say, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I didn't really have I didn't really have an idea what I wanted to record today. So if this one seems kind of like disjointed and just kind of like winging it, because it is, but reading bad two-sentence horror stories is always just kind of easier to do because the reactions are sometimes just honestly like, what the fuck? But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Links are down below. Use code GOONS over at gamersubs.gg. It helps out the goons, and it also helps me out because I'm trying to get partnered with them. So, I think it'd be cool to be partnered with them. But yeah, all the links are down below too if you want to find me on any social media platforms. I do art on the side, so if you want to go check it out, please go check it out. And yeah, I don't have anything else more to say to you outside of thank you for clicking on the video. Okay, so I want to keep you guys here no longer. I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. You guys all mean so much to me, and just thank you for being here. So, I'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.